In 2014, more than 2 million people in the United States suffered from prescription opioid addiction. But that number doesn't account for the millions of family members also impacted by the scourge of this disease. CBS News is following one man's battle to rid himself of the heroin that has torn him and his family apart. Here's part 3 of DeMarco Morgan's and producer Jonathan Blakely's special series, In the Shadow of Death, Jason's Journey.
I'll never give up on him. Never, ever.
No matter what?
No matter what.
59-year-old Beth Egan is the closest living family member to her 2 nephews, Jason and Andrew Amaral. Both are heroin addicts.
They're absolutely like my sons. I can't, and I don't want to lose them. Everybody else in the family loves them, of course, but they keep saying, you know, you just got to walk away, Beth. But I can't. Hope he looks that good again someday.
Auntie Beth, as they call her, has been looking out for the boys ever since her sister, their mother, died of cancer when Jason was 11.
I don't have any money on me. I had to
Egan was the first person Jason called for money the day he allowed CBS cameras to follow him as he looked for drugs on the streets of Boston.
Can you send me $30? Believe me, like, this is the last time I'm doing this to you.
He used the money sent by his Aunt Beth to sniff crushed pills in a bathroom stall in City Hall, then to buy heroin later,
Just tie you off like that.
which we saw him inject several times.
Is it hard to watch?
Absolutely.
Stop at red light means stop, but red means go when you're shooting heroin.
So knowing that Jason has overdosed 8 times.
Yeah, I've been there for one of them.
8 times. You've seen one? Mm-hmm. What was that like?
It was not nice at all. I actually screamed. I got removed from the hospital, but I screamed at him, who do you want to be buried next to, Mom or Dad?
Jason's life wasn't always like that. Until her death, Egan's sister, Joanne, raised her boys in a happy home in Needham, Massachusetts. Jason and Andrew then went to live with their father. Jason was a good student, played sports, and went to college. He made the mistake of trying the opiate pill, OxyContin, and got hooked. A few years into his addiction, Jason's father died of liver failure. By then, Jason had been caught stealing and went to say goodbye, escorted by police.
So I went to his wake in shackles and like handcuffs and like a jumpsuit, and my aunt was there with me.
We sat there for hours in the prison that day, and he kept saying, I did that to Dad, I did that to... And of course he didn't, but...
But he blames himself.
Yeah. Well, he thinks he did stuff that probably added to his dad's death.
Do you think your father had a broken heart?
Absolutely, you know what I mean? Like he didn't want to face the fact that both his sons were heroin addicts, you know what I mean? I think he kind of gave up a little bit, you know?
Jason's brother Andrew is also walking in the shadow of death. He and Jason remain very close, each hoping the other lives to beat their common addiction. Andrew now has a young son. He and Jason are fighting to live for him.
I don't want him to be like without a father. That would just suck, you know? But if I keep getting high, I can't like see him, you know what I mean?
Andrew is now homeless, an addict who's had trouble committing to detox.
You've taken everything from me.
But Jason is now in rehab, working hard to stay clean. He wants to show his brother they can do it.
I'm never gonna overdose. My brother won't overdose. He's gonna survive. He's gonna get it this time. I have to lead it by power of example. I can't tell him to stay clean.
Because you don't want the call like your brothers did.
No.
You just don't want the call.
No, absolutely not. That's the call I'm dreading, honestly. I hope that never happens. And when I pray, because I get on my knees in the morning, I get on my knees at night, and that's something I've changed since I've been here.
You believe he's looking out for you?
God, he has to be. There's no, you know what I mean? I'd be dead if he wasn't.
DeMarco Morgan here with more. It doesn't get any easier to watch, that's for sure.
Not at all.
And especially now seeing, as we've seen the series progress, how these brothers, Andrew's present now was Jason's recent past. It's remarkable to see Jason as well in rehab. But first with Beth Egan, the aunt, who loves her nephew
Dearly.
so
Dearly.
much, and sent him $30, knowing what he was going to do with it. Did you talk to her about the idea of enabling?
Yeah, Josh, it's just like any family member. When there's an addict who asks you for $5, $10, they're going to say that they want it for cigarettes or some food.
This is the last
You're going to look
time
out
I'm
for
gonna
them.
ask
Yeah,
you.
this is the last time I'm going to ask for it, but you give it to them because you love them unconditionally, and you're always hoping that they're going to do the right thing with the money. Unfortunately, he didn't do it. She didn't just purposely give it to him, knowing that he was going to go purchase, heroin or whatever. But she did it because she loves him, and she also made a promise to his mom, who's her sister.
Yeah.
When she died, when she was on her deathbed, she said, "I will take care of your boys," and she has held it no matter what. She's held that promise no matter what. Even though other family members have said, "Beth, walk away, let him go. It just won't work." She refuses to give up. So her love is strong.
And he has overdosed 8 times and yet has not died. But you can see how death has impacted his life. The loss of his mother at such a crucial age. There is no age to lose a parent, but at the age of 11 with a younger brother in tow, obviously. And then you mentioned the father as well. How much guilt, how much do we think perhaps Jason is trying to escape some of that guilt over his father's death?
One of the biggest questions that I asked him, I said, "Have you even dealt with the death of your mom and your father?" And he said, "No." And, I can only imagine losing my mom at a younger age. I lost my father when I was 10, but I can only imagine what it was like to lose your mother, lose one parent at an early age, and then you make it to 18, 19, 20, and then you lose your father in your most critical years. His father worked several jobs, owned a construction company, and was basically there just, probably thinking he was doing the best thing for his boys by just giving them whatever they wanted, but he was enabling their addictions. And he probably had no clue, and then again, he may have had a clue that they were going through because Jason was in college again and got kicked off the baseball team there. But it had a major impact, especially with boys and their fathers, young girls and their mothers, the relationships that we have. But he has blamed himself, and he continues to blame himself for his father's death. He knew he didn't have any control for mom, but his father's death, he sort of blames himself.
And you have to assume there's a degree of escape in the drug use, and that maybe, now we're seeing here 8 weeks in the program, a decidedly different Jason, but then we see his younger brother
which breaks my heart. Every time I see it, both breaks my heart.
I mean, and looking just as Jason did at in part 1 of your series, what then to make of Jason's current stay and recovery, and what to make of Andrew's very chaotic and tenuous present?
That is something that is extremely tough to answer, tough to think about, because at any point, an addict can relapse.
Yeah.
They can go backwards. Yep. You can be clean for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and all it takes is that one moment. But what you do have is hope. And that's what Jason not only has for himself, but he has hope for his brother. That his brother will also make it through, that his brother will get the picture and try to get clean, stay in detox and make it to a treatment facility. That's what they're leaning on. They're leaning on hope. And I think addicts have to have not only a support system, because you have family members who are with you, and some just walk away because they're just tired. They're just tired. But you gotta have that strong support system, and someone like Auntie Beth, who's not going to walk out on you. That's the only way that you can make it.
And
no matter how many treatment facilities, how many drugs, or how many friends that you have to help you get off, you gotta have somebody that is willing to stick it through with you.
You need arms wide open when you're ready to walk through that door. Hopefully for Jason and Andrew both, they will be there again. It is brutal. It is very difficult to watch. And this work is vital and essential, and you and Jonathan and the team are to be commended. What a piece, DeMarco Morgan. Thank you for this.
Thank you.